makes me want to holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I've got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Oh, you know we need them. Yeah, we need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So, are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Oh, I'm ready.
You're ready, huh?
I'm
Well,
ready.
I don't know about it. We'll talk about that. No, because of what you were asking me earlier. Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan. She is psychotherapist, LPC, Lauren Leon McMillan. Yeah, well, you know, I'm in a psychology mode and mood, and you asked earlier, are we teaching psychology now? Well, you know, I've got a couple of things to say to that.
Okay. Shoot.
The things that we need to learn most, we teach.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I need to be reminded often about the laws of human psychology, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Sounds like a good.
All right. And then the second thing, I mean, we're strategies for living. And I
Right.
mean, you know, so we're body, mind, spirit relationship. I'm asking the question, what could be more important than psychological theories and stuff? And, you know, I know, I realize not everybody, you know, is interested. However,
Well,
hopefully we'll present it in such a way that it'll make sense
right.
to everybody's life.
I don't think everybody's as interested as we are in the labeling and the what it means, but I think it is important for everybody to understand some part of it because it does greatly enhance our lives once we understand the ins and outs of our minds and how they work and how we interact with each other through that.
Couldn't agree with you more. So today we're going to talk about some laws of human psychology that we should all know. And here's the thing, small insights can have a massive impact on your life. And so that's why we're going to tackle the laws of human psychology today. There's 7 of them. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being with us, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing and the Balanced Life Wellness Center. Wait a minute.
Restore Healing.
Restore Healing. Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Muffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. Back in a moment, we're tackling the laws of human psychology today here on Strategies. Come back with us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
Hey, welcome in. Welcome into where am
We're
I?
strategies
Who am I?
for living.
We're strategies for living.
Oh, Lord,
Thank you.
need a dose of psychology.
I think I do. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. I'd have these occasional lapses where.
I don't know if I'm glad or not so glad that I have an effect on you.
Well, it depends on how you choose to look at it, and
there's a good law of psychology.
There's
right?
a good psychological insight, even though I don't think that's one of the 7 we're going to talk about today.
Did that on purpose.
Yeah, there you go. Well, everything, everything is on purpose, right? All right, so it turns out, and we all know this, small insights sometimes can have a massive impact on our lives. Why do we need to know these laws of human psychology? Well, I tell you, if you understand people better, then you can.
Last time I checked, we are people.
We are people, and so we can. It makes life a bit easier. It is a strategy for living. And if you understand some of the laws that we're going to talk about today, you can make smarter decisions on your own behalf. Who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
Then if you can understand these laws of psychology, it will help you in relationships because you can build stronger relationships, both intimate relationships, relationships at work, or just casual friendships and relationships. And who doesn't want to get better results, right? And
and it comes down to something we talk about a lot here, which is becoming more conscious, more aware.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who often come to the point where we're moving through life and not really understanding what the script is or where is our script, right?
I've been looking for mine for 69 years. Still hadn't found the damn thing.
Yeah.
I think my brother hit it.
There really is no script. That's the first insight there.
Oh.
But
that sounds like another one of these laws.
So far as I've understood it now, if somebody knows more, I'm open. But this is akin to that.
Well,
right?
Mr. Harris, who came up with, transactional analysis, one of the ones that came up with transactional
those
analysis.
Were scripts.
Yeah,
so
he talks about scripts in TA, and but the scripts that he talks about are scripts, and he talks about it in terms of
the games
that we play. And really, we talk a lot about the messages we get in the first few years of life.
Right.
So that's really what he's talking about when he's talking about the scripts.
And that's kind of what this is as well. Their tendencies, their biases, their predictable patterns of human behavior and interactions. Yep. And so you can think of it in a way as scripts, if that helps.
Yeah. So the first one we want to talk about is the law of mirroring. The law of mirroring.
Yeah.
So people like you more when you subtly mirror their actions or their tone or their body language.
Yep.
I bet our friend Scott Tarkowski would agree with us 100%. I bet he teaches this, some in his SRT sales training. Now, I don't know that for a fact. So if you're listening and I'm wrong, I apologize. But,
maybe you should add it.
Maybe you should add it. I've been threatening to help him out. So there you go, Scott. That's free of charge.
This is something that we do talk about in counseling, right?
Yeah.
Because it's one of the ways that we build rapport with the client.
And you do it rapidly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the underlying deal here is that people tend to feel safer with people who feel familiar.
Right.
And so
mirroring
helps to close that gap.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And so now you can do this in what you do. You can do this in the tone of your voice. And perhaps the most subtle way that you can do it is in body language. So if somebody is sitting tightly with their legs crossed, just don't make a big deal about it, but just mirror that.
Cross your legs.
Yeah. And then you might even, after a little while, make a subtle invitation by relaxing your arms and uncrossing your legs, inviting the other person to do that. Through the years in the counseling room, especially with brand new clients who come in nervous, and that's, to be expected. It's amazing how much this law of mirroring can work.
It's incredible. And, it's funny because this is one of those things. A lot of counseling came intuitively to me, but this is one of those things that I didn't realize that I already did all the time.
Yeah. So when you went to graduate school and when you learned a lot of counseling at that level,
right,
it let you know, hey, I'm already doing some of this stuff. I just haven't put a label.
I didn't know the words for what I was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the way to use this is, and, you match the energy. Basically, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're basically matching the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So a very easy way to do this is to tune in energetically. And this may sound complicated to some people, but it's really not. So you can tell if somebody comes in and they're sad, let's say.
Right.
Or you can tell when somebody comes in and they're joyful, right? So subtly match that.
The energy, right?
Yeah, match that energy.
If somebody comes in and they're quite obviously sad, and
you don't
slow,
want to go, hey, how you doing today?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That mismatch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also want to throw in, we don't want to go the opposite way, right?
No.
Because sometimes forced mirroring can feel intrusive or creepy.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to be careful of that.
Yep.
We want to fall in line with the authentic. I want to truly, genuinely connect with you.
What this is saying at a basic level is I'm interested in who you are,
and I
entirely
see you.
as a person. And you are, I'm glad you said it that way. I see you. I'm experiencing you. And the law of mirroring is a subtle way that we're giving that message without just being blatant about it, right?
Right.
All right. So the law of reciprocity is one we're going to talk about next. Okay. So reciprocity, a big word, but
it just means that I want something in return, right?
Yeah. When you give something,
goes both ways.
People feel obligated to give back, and so this is big in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Through the years of doing lots and lots of couple counseling, one of the things that I always looked at and for early on in assessing, and when I don't want to sound too technical or too clinical here, because what you're actually doing is you're trying to see where the couple is. And one of the things that I always wanted to do is know where how the law of reciprocity in that relationship is working.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes and that's the reason that they come to couples counseling. Sometimes there's just been a minor, hiccup, but you realize, in sitting down with a couple in the first session, wow, these people are in tune with each other. These people are on the same page. So again, it gives you an idea of which way you need to go with the person.
Right.
All right. So any of us, you don't have to be a counselor or a psychologist to use the law of reciprocity, and think about it in terms of giving value first. And if you do that, it's going to create trust. It's going to open doors. So how can you, in any relationship, and think about any relationship you want to think about, what can you give? It doesn't have to be monetary.
No.
It doesn't have to be. It can be.
It doesn't have to be a physical gift. It can be attention. It can be kindness. It can be time.
Absolutely.
Encouragement.
In fact, I would argue that that's a basic, right? That the very least we can do in all of our relationships is compassion and kindness, you know, no matter what it appears, because sometimes appearances, we look and our ego immediately, you know, is going to jump to judgment. That's one of the things the ego does, right? Sure. Well, compassion will hopefully check the ego a bit. You know, if for instance, I'm driving down the street and I see a homeless person with their, you know, basket packed full of everything that they have, you know, our ego runs wild in terms of messages. But, you know, how about if I just have compassion for that person and put myself in their place, wonder how I would do if everything I owned had to fit into a shopping cart, right? And we
have no idea the full story.
No. And I mean, you know, our friend Gary Tiemann, who worked years ago at Angola, that was his first job as a social worker at Angola. And Gary said, you know, and I think this is right on. He said, once you understand anybody's story, their real story, their whole story, then you understand why they did the things they did. Still, you may not agree with it. It may be wrong, and they've got to pay their debt to society.
But
however,
it
can make sense to you. We're talking about 7 laws of psychology that everybody should know. Talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. Be right back.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you want to holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living.
If you're looking for strategies, you have found them right here on Strategies for Living.
Look no further.
Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, talking today about 7 laws of psychology that we should all know. So we've talked about the law of mirroring. We've talked about the law of reciprocity. What about this one, Lauren? The law of social proof. All right, so, you know, the law of social proof, what the heck does that mean? Social proof.
Well, you see, monkey do sort of idea, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Carla gifted us a lamp for the office, right?
Well, that's the hear no evil,
see no evil. Yeah, 3 little monkeys, you know. Yeah. But it's still got the monkeys, and it's monkey see, monkey do, right?
See. Yeah, I got you.
So that's the law of social proof, that people follow the actions of others, especially in uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? I think, and we have to remember that this one helped our ancestors to survive, right? If we weren't sure of what to do, we looked to others to see what was working. Yeah. And we copied that, and it continued. And I mean, that's sort of how we've evolved, right? But we really see this now, right, in trends and social media and virality, right?
I think we're seeing this is an extremely important law for us to be aware of right now, just simply because
there's a lot of uncertainty in the world.
There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And what is causing, we also talk and wring our hands about how much division is in the world. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I really think a lot of it has to do with people blindly getting on board whatever train that they're hopping on.
Yep.
Many times when, you know, I've encountered somebody that may think differently from the way that I think on a particular subject, one of the things that I like to do very gently is just ask questions. Just say, be curious, get into curiosity, and, basically ask, okay, that's reasonable that you think that. Tell me how you got there.
Right.
Tell me how that evolved in your life. And it's surprising, Lauren, how many people that question stumps. And when, the truth of the matter is they don't know how they got there. And they're just following somebody on one crowd, in this crowd, or in that crowd.
Right. Or the answer might come down to, well, so-and-so said it, right?
Yeah.
And I personally have to think of a teacher of mine, Miss Vogler, who taught us early on in middle school. She said, it's okay to have opinions. I want you to have opinions, but you have to back it up.
Yeah.
If you express an opinion in here, I want you to, but I want you to back it up.
I want you to tell me how you got there.
How you got there.
Yeah, sure.
And why it came to be in your life and why you've discerned that this is in alignment with you, basically. She didn't say those words, but that's what I took from
you're going back to middle school. You just took me back to middle school to the 1968 presidential election.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the 7th grade. Mrs. Scott, one of my favorite, Mrs. Georgiana Scott, one of my very favorite teachers. And what she had us do is she had us do a mock election.
Right.
Yeah. And I got to be Richard Nixon. I am not a crook. And Donnie Gilbert had to be Hubert Humphrey.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we did is we gave campaign speeches. Well, I took this serious, right? I took it serious.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to think for a 7th grader, I gave the most rousing little political speech.
I bet you did.
And Donnie, God bless him. He, I don't know if he just wasn't on board with it or if he was just doing it because he had to do it. Anyway, he didn't give much of a speech. The outcome of the election didn't exactly mirror because I won the class election in a landslide.
Right.
Sure. I think Donnie got 1 vote.
Was it his?
Yes, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure because of the way that his speech went down. Anyway, I think that this people want to follow the crowd. Yeah. That's not always so great.
Here's the flip side is a good news for us though, right?
Okay.
Like if there's something that you want more of in the world or in your world, and when I say your world, I just mean in your household, especially like if you're a parent, right? Then do it. Model it. And that is using social proof in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, if you really are wanting to see more peace, more love, more care in the world, do it.
Absolutely.
And
model it.
Others will follow.
That is so important within parenting. That is so important within households. Now, the other thing that, it's important with the law of social proof is, what are the testimonials? Can you show testimonials? Can you show numbers? Can you delineate experiences that build confidence in terms of what you're putting forward? And that's what Miss Vogler probably had in mind for you guys. Show me the numbers, show me how you got there, show me the experiences that have built this.
And how is this working in your life?
Yeah. And that is a phenomenal thing to teach middle school students.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm grateful. I hope we're still doing. I hope there's a bunch of Miss Voglers out there today.
She was a rare breed.
Yeah, So was Miss Scott. Yeah, so I hope there's Miss Voglers and Miss Scotts out there in our middle schools because
we need them.
The good Lord knows we need them. We need great teachers. And if you're thinking of any profession. Maybe you're transitioning. Think teaching. I am. I truly am.
I know.
Yeah.
You have for a while.
I'm
and you and I do too.
We do.
Sort of. That's what
we do a lot of teaching, but I mean, I'm really thinking about, do I want to go and pursue this further? So because I know there's a need.
Yeah.
The law of attraction. Now, most people have heard of the law of attraction, but I'm not sure that we've heard of the law of attraction like we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
So
how are
the
we
law
gonna
of
talk about
attraction is that we're drawn to people who are confident, who are positive, and who are genuinely interested in us. So, this kind of melds into some of what you've already been talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
We are drawn to people who are positive and show genuine interest. We kind of went there in mirroring. We went there in reciprocity, even in social proof. But the law of attraction really says to us, look, what do you authentically believe? Be authentic, show interest, and we're all energy. So positive energy is going to attract.
Yeah.
Now you're contemplating. I see you contemplating. I see the wheels turning there.
Yeah. Well, because
which sometimes makes me nervous. But go ahead.
I mostly agree. I think for most healthy people are attracted to people who make us feel good and who are positive, encouraging, and validating.
Yeah.
However, I think the other law of attraction plays some role here. And what I mean by that is I think there are people who have grown up in not so positive environments, right?
Right.
And they are actually, I've seen this in some clients, they're actually skeptical and weary of people who are positive and uplifting.
Well, now, yeah, okay. So are you?
But I do think there is an innate draw, perhaps.
But are you talking about what I would call false positive?
Okay.
And what I mean by false positive is, the forgive me, any salesperson from a furniture store, but think about, hey, how you doing? Get on in here. I got this couch to show you.
Yeah.
That. Are you thinking of that kind of positive? Because that's not really what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about something more authentic,
genuine,
more
coming
genuine.
From a genuine place.
Coming from a place where, Mr. Boudreaux, Scott Tarkowski. I must have Scott on my mind. But the last time he brought a guest to us, he brought Mr. Boudreaux.
Yep.
And that was really, Mr. Boudreaux is an extremely good salesperson. Mm-hmm. But he, what he really talked about most
was being true and authentic to who you are.
Be authentic and make a relationship with that person. And you don't have to worry about selling them anything. That'll happen, by itself if it's supposed to.
Because of the law of attraction.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, if I were to summarize what Mr. Boudreaux was saying, it would be he was heavy on the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. And he didn't call it that. And, I said this kind of earlier. The contemporary view of the law of attraction is, okay, I'm going to watch this movie and all this money's going to flow to me. No, that's really not the law of attraction.
No, it is about getting in alignment with who you truly are and being present to who you are at all times.
Right.
Right. So it's not about just being positive all the time.
And
it's about being who you are.
And the fact is, if you do that and you're genuine, rewards will come. They may not always be monetary. No. But rewards will come. All right. Law of mirroring, law of reciprocity, law of social proof, law of attractions. We've got more. In fact, there's 7 of them. Laws of human psychology that we should all know. We're talking about it today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
Yeah, we need them. We got them. Or at least we'd like to think we do.
We have some. Are they good? Hopefully.
If you think otherwise, don't burst our bubble. But thank you for listening. Anyway, to Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, talking today about some important laws of psychology that, in fact, 7 of them, that will, if we understand these, it'll help any of us. We've talked about the law of mirroring. We've talked about the law of reciprocity. We've talked about the law of social proof. We've talked about the law of attraction. Now we're going to talk about the law of commitment. So once people commit to something small, they're more likely to follow through with bigger commitments. So again, this is, if you understand this idea, this law, if you will, of psychology, then how can you get small yeses first? I think this could be incredibly important in parenting. I think this could be incredibly important in relationships.
I mean, in
coupling.
self-development.
In your own self. Yeah. How can you get small yeses first? Because small yeses leads to bigger yeses later. And that's just part of the law of commitments. Once we commit to something small, we're more likely to follow through with bigger commitments.
Yeah.
So, I've spent a lot of years in sales. In fact, radio sales.
Right.
17 years in the radio business. And even though, I was a salesperson, I was sales manager and a general manager. But even when I was general manager, sales, was all important. So I never was I not interested and focused on selling. And, I found this to be true. Once you go, and I remember back in the day at Kiel, when I was a very young salesperson, one of the things that we had, I have no idea whether they still have them, so you could call the sales department here at the radio station and find out. But back in my day, we would have weekend packages, right? Mm-hmm. And so you could get 50 commercials on Kiel over a weekend, a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Time. Yeah.
And, we would just run the bejesus out of those, right?
Yeah.
And it would be at a very special price. Mm-hmm. And, I just found myself early on selling the heck out of weekend packages. Sure. But you know what it led to? It led to
bigger packages.
It led to bigger,
I would think, especially with the way that they're placed on the weekend and played over and over, it would get real traction.
Well, that was the whole idea. Right? That was the whole idea that,
it would get proof.
Okay, well, we weren't as busy spot wise over the weekend, so we could afford to give a lot, for a little. Mm-hmm. And once you do that and people can see the power of radio, so Monday morning, people going into a store or a business and asking for what, we talked about over the weekend, that's proof positive that, hey, something's going on here.
So I'm thinking about how this could also work with yourself and with other people, right?
Yep.
In terms of if you have a goal, we often get so overwhelmed by the end goal that we forget it is the very small, tiny habits that build to make that.
The small insights lead to a big impact.
Right. Yeah. So if you want to become a more peaceful person, maybe just start with, and if you want to even become somebody who meditates, you don't have to start with an hour meditation. No, right?
Start with 2 minutes.
Well, no, you could start with when you pour your coffee.
There you go.
Just tune in and be mindful.
There
because
you go.
that is a step towards meditation.
Absolutely.
And you begin to add that, and you begin to see yourself as someone who adds presence into my life, into every day.
And you can build from there if you want to.
Right.
All right. Another law is the law of scarcity. So people value things more when they believe those things are limited.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, how do we use this? How would this make sense in our life? Well, use limited time. Use limited opportunities or spots, or exclusive access to increase value. So it seems that, okay, there's only so much of this, and that's true, because we all live in the world. Hopefully, beyond the world, we'll be out of it. But in the world, we are in time and space. We are defined, and we define ourselves by time and space. And time and space are not infinite. They are finite. And so the very basic way we can define this is just by time and space. I've only got so much of me that'll go around.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of all the ways that this kind of goes awry, right, in terms of fear of FOMO, right, fear of missing out, or panic buying. But I'm also thinking of all the ways we could leverage this, right, and that the thing that really comes to mind for me is memento mori.
Yep.
Right, is what you ask us at the end of every show.
Yep.
And to remember that, just like you were saying, this time and space and this experience itself is limited and one of a kind in each moment. And so if we can remind ourselves, how much more present can we be with each other?
We can increase, the value in our life of how do we use our time? How do we use this space? The last law we want to talk about is the law of authority.
Okay.
So people trust and follow, I'm using air quotes here, experts. What are experts? They're credible. If you're considered an expert in whatever field you're in, people look at you as credible.
By definition, it's someone who has 10,000 hours, right?
I think so. Yeah. So, how would you use this law of authority if you want to? Well, build your knowledge, share it, build it, share it. I mean, how many times do we say on the program, the healthiest position you can put yourself in is the position of a curious student.
Right.
What do you want to build more knowledge? What are you curious about? What do you want to know more about? And the more you do that, the more then you'll find that in whatever area that you're focusing on, you become the go-to person.
Well, and here's the deal: we're in a very special time in human history where if you want to learn something, if you want to know something,
it's so available.
It's very available, and so I would encourage us to also be careful of throwing over our authority to someone else.
Absolutely.
And trusting in our own inner authority.
It's interesting how all of these laws kind of thread one to the other. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. And it's also interesting that there's 7 of them. Do you realize how many things in the world are 7? Yeah. We're talking about laws of psychology that we probably all need to be aware of today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. Oh, my favorite time of the day. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan.
You just like my guitar playing.
Yeah, exactly. David McMillan. No, it's my favorite time of the day because, you're the expert in the room. You're the licensed professional counselor. Okay. Who am I? I mean,
you're retired.
Yeah, okay.
Licensed professional counselor.
Exactly. I'm retired, so my feet are up.
Far more experience.
So what's your takeaway from the things that we've talked about today, these 7 laws of psychology that we've discussed?
Something that I've noticed as we talked through all 7 of them is that None of them are inherently good or bad.
Yeah.
And they all can be used to build trust or to manipulate. And so
You're right.
And so I think that's why it's important that we understand these quote unquote laws, these patterns of behavior, so that we can become more aware and choose how to use them.
Yep, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So,
I don't know.
Again, expert in the room, right?
Not 10,000 hours yet.
But you're
On the
working on
way.
it. The law of mirroring, the law of reciprocity, the law of social proof, the law of attraction, the law of commitment, the law of scarcity, the law of authority. If you missed any of them, hey, we're on podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, just type in Strategies for Living, subscribe to us, and you don't ever have to miss a program. Folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being a part of Strategies for Living, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing. And it's not the Balanced Life Wellness Center anymore.
It's Restored Healing.
There you go. Fertitas Delicatessen, home of the Muffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why? Why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan, and we'll see you next time right here on Strategies for Living.